Hi, welcome to another edition of Sunday Vibes at NST Podcast. And yes, I'm back. And we've got a great show for you today in conjunction with two big milestones for Malaysia, Merdeka Day and also Malaysia Day. And of course, we're going to be unwrapping or delving into this topic with my usual long-suffering partner in crime. Do you see the pause there? It's because I'm trying to find the right words to describe Elena Koshi.
I don't know why you seem to be struggling with that after all these times.
Yeah,
with
that's
me.
why. Long suffering is a big thing.
Long
so I have to
suffering.
find the right word. So it's Elena Koshi in the house, as usual. And something that's not usual is not our usual co-host or guest host.
Yes.
We have someone new, equally dashing as our previous guest.
Eligible bachelor.
Don't give away too much, El.
Oh.
It's a gift show, but not that kind of gift. But anyway, we've got Charles Chua in the house. Welcome, Charles.
Thank you. Thanks, Intan. Thanks, Elena.
Okay, and for those who don't know who Charles is, even Elena doesn't know who Charles is. Okay, he's going to give a little bit of background about who he is. The only thing I know is that his Instagram handle is the lawyer who travels.
Traveling
Is that
lawyer.
right?
Yes, lawyer who travels.
The lawyer who travels.
I mean,
Yes.
I'm just,
Yeah, so I think he's
rephrasing that.
absolutely perfect for this show. But before we go on, let Charles introduce himself in case there are nice ladies out there who might be interested.
Sure. Thank you. So, Charles Chua here. I'm from Sabah, East Malaysia. I'm a lawyer by profession. And on the sideline, I enjoy traveling, which is why I have this Instagram profile, lawyer who travels. A lot of my friends who forget my name usually remember the tagline, lawyer who travels.
So why do you call yourself the lawyer who travels? Do you travel more than most lawyers, or what is it? Is it a passion?
That's a great question. I think it started off as a passion. I think especially after, COVID and lockdown, I started traveling a bit more for work. And then when work travel died down, I started traveling by myself, just to explore and catch up with friends located in different countries.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Okay. See, he's perfect for this show.
Absolutely.
Because you know why? We're going to be talking about the gift that we want to give to Malaysia.
he's the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, we all.
That's jammy.
Yeah.
But anyway, because every time there's Merdeka or every time we shoot a Malaysia
That's right.
Day episode, it's always about flag waving, parades, rousing speeches, patriotism also. I thought we'd flip the script a little bit today by going a little bit out of the box. So it's about, because Malaysia, we're celebrating Malaysia, and what better for celebrations than to give a gift? Right? So we want to find out what gift we would like to give to Malaysia and what gift Malaysia has given to us.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay.
And you know why it's perfect? Because Charles is a Sabahan, but he's an intrepid traveler. He has seen the world. I'm sure he will be able to give really great perspectives. Elena is a diehard clan girl.
Yes.
All right. And she's super patriotic. Right. And I have lived abroad for my formative years, and I've come back, in fact, like a visitor at one point. But of course, now I'm staying here. So I think it's the perfect episode. So for the first question, let's just roll into it. You have traveled the world. You have
Yep.
seen many countries. Have you ever come to a country where you suddenly stopped and said, Ayo, I wish Malaysia had that?
Great question, Intan. I think for me recently, I've just discovered Japan, but just in about 2 years ago. And I'm constantly fascinated by how efficient they are. The way the trains always almost come on time. I think this, if you go online, there's rarely any cases of trains arriving late. Imagine how great that would be if we have that kind of system in Malaysia. There will be no excuses for running late.
That's
Right.
true. That's true.
I agree, because the one in Klang, my commuter hardly comes on time.
Oh, it's commuter KTMs. I remember taking those when we were younger.
Yeah, in
And-
fact, now they don't even come. So, yeah.
Okay, so you're already starting the show with a complaint?
Just an observation
Okay.
with a little bit of eye roll thrown in.
Right.
But I promise you I'll be smiling throughout.
Okay. So if I were to ask you, Al, anything that you can think of which, if you could wrap as a gift that you would love to give to Malaysia, something that perhaps it doesn't have right now.
Oh, my.
Is that a
Wow.
big question?
It's a very deep question, actually. But I think if I were to want to give Malaysia something, with all the news reports that I've been reading about, I would say love for animals.
Animals. Okay. Okay.
Because I think too few of us don't have, very few of us actually have compassion for animals, especially the strays. And with all the reports about, cruelty and, a lot of things that goes on, I think maybe Malaysia could use a dose of compassion for animals.
So you would give Malaysia a gift of compassion.
Yes. Just compassion, but this time for animals. I stress on that.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Do you think that we collectively love Malaysia, enough as she is, or do we just mostly love the image of Malaysia that we think about?
I love Malaysia, warts and all.
Okay.
We are not perfect, but who is? There's a lot of things we can improve upon. But to be honest, even when I travel and all that, I just can't wait to come back.
Right.
And
For the plate of Nasi Lemak.
for the Nasi Lemak. And I get all teary-eyed, especially when you travel. This is not an advertisement for Malaysia Airlines.
I knew this was coming.
But
I knew this
it's
was
like
coming.
to all Malaysians, welcome home. You just get that, that lump in your throat. It's like, yeah, this is my home.
Right.
And homes, our homes are not perfect.
That's true.
Who wants a perfect home? We want the good, the bad, and the ugly. It makes it interesting.
That's true. That's true. Okay. If I had to give a gift to Malaysia, I think something tangible. I think I would like to give Malaysia the gift of a mirror. A mirror.
Interesting.
Okay, not the harsh fluorescent mirror that you sometimes get in the toilets, in the bathroom, whatever. But maybe, something that you get in a cozy cafe where the light's kind of warm and you've got fairy lights, put around the mirror. Because I feel that sometimes having lived abroad and having seen, I'm sure Charles has too, right? To reflect back what visitors to Malaysia actually see that we sometimes don't see. Okay, because if you look at the good stuff, if you reflect back the good stuff, you see that, look at our diversity, look at the richness, our culinary richness, look at how resilient we are as a people. And in fact, Malaysians are very warm and very kind. So sometimes we think to complain. I think we all like to complain. We vent and of course every country will have that. But sometimes we don't stop long enough to actually just reflect back on what Malaysia does have, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I think. What about you, Charles? Because you travel, do you often reflect and think actually Malaysia's not so bad? Because everybody talks about how great it is to be in Europe, how great it is to be in Japan, how everything is so efficient in Singapore.
Yeah.
But does that happen to you?
I think every trip, on the plane coming back to KL, I will always reflect, what have I seen on this trip that I could carry back, whether it's some best practices or stories I can share with friends. And having done that exercise, I realized Malaysia is a very young nation, right? It is, I would say, developing nation. And when we compare against our neighbors like Singapore and a few others, which are in different stages, hence we can see the subtle differences in our daily lives. So I've learned to be kinder in my reflection towards Malaysia, and I guess now I see Malaysia as a, if I could say, work in progress. Right, we're not perfect, but we are making improvements every day.
I love that. I love that.
We are
working.
trying to be better, and I think there are flaws here and there in certain foundations, but at the same time, the people, right? We have nice people. We have talented people here in Malaysia. Speak different languages, diverse cultures. We are actually quite resilient. If you've been abroad and you started seeing other Malaysians, you've never heard of stories of Malaysians failing abroad, right?
That's true.
Malaysians they can thrive everywhere. You can throw them to anywhere around the world. We've got the language skills. If we don't, we can pick it up easily because growing up we speak so many different languages.
Yeah.
We are known to have friends of different cultures and race, right? And so with that, I think we are off to a good start, right? We've got a strong foundation as
foundation.
Malaysians,
Right.
but perhaps there's more to be done in terms of nation building and getting the basics right.
Yeah. What do you think, Al? What do you think about that?
After the rousing speech,
Oh,
I'm
no, it's
gonna
meant to be a
vote
fun
Charles
conversation,
for
right?
Prime Minister.
I know. Suddenly I feel I need to vote for him.
No, but he's right, because when you think about it, we are a multiracial country. We sort of seamlessly blend in with each other. We can hang out with each other. We don't have that difficulty to integrate with each other. So you're right, Charles. When we go abroad, like I have been abroad as well, right? And I have lived abroad, and I find that we can integrate ourselves quite seamlessly into any other culture or any other countries, easily. And also, I think as a people, because our traits, we're naturally easygoing, we're naturally very, I would say we're very warm people. I would say
Hospitable.
that we may be a little
Yeah.
bit shy, although because I've heard visitors actually say, well, in Thailand they smile more. In Malaysia, I sense a kind of tentativeness. So I don't feel that tentativeness is hostility. I think that we are a little bit shy.
Yep.
Would you say that?
Yes, I agree with you. I think we are not out there like smile and at every stranger that crosses our path. But I think where it counts, we are kind people.
Yeah, because when you think about the first sentence or the first question that we generally ask our friends or visitors is dah makan ke?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? So that denotes, even you will say it to a stranger as well, right?
Yeah.
Dah makan ke?
I think that's our love language. I think for
Yeah.
Malaysians, our love language is food.
Right.
Because we have all sorts, and we generally bring, when visitors come, we feed them.
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah.
always
Non-stop.
tend to feed them nonstop, and
Yeah.
they'll be like, "Oh my God, there's so much of food.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's going on?" But that's our
Yes.
love language,
Yes.
So we feed people. So
Yeah.
I feel that we are very kind and hospitable people.
Right.
I mean, back in the days, and I'm sure it's slowly being revisited. Open houses and all. We used to go to each other's houses. We are always welcome in people's homes.
Right.
Yeah.
We're always given drinks and food.
Yeah, regardless, right?
Right?
Yeah, what about, how is it like in Sabah, Charles? Is it, I mean, I know we
Yeah.
always say, there's a difference in Semenanjung and in the other side, East Malaysia.
Yeah.
Would you say that it's warmer there or more hospitable there?
I think based on my own experience growing up, I feel it's slightly warmer there. Growing up, I mean, warmer in terms of temperature, that's one thing.
Okay.
But also, I think just the sort of the, your neighborhoods, because in Sabah, especially in KK, KK is smaller compared to Klang Valley.
Right.
So you've got neighborhoods that are less scattered. So people are closer to each other. And if you go to the local coffee shops, kopitiams, there's no real distinction between, whether it's Chinese food, Malay food, or Indian
Right.
food. Though we could do with more mamaks in East Malaysia because there aren't that many
Agreed.
mamaks there.
Do you have any mamats in East Malaysia? Because I didn't
We
see any.
but we
Oh,
don't
you
call
do?
them mamaks. We call them by their names. And for example, in KK, there are a few known ones. And there are a few curry houses that we go to for
Right.
biryani, for example.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, because sometimes in my line of work, when when we're mixed up for media junkets and all that, and I happen to be, paired with somebody from East Malaysia, I find they're so much different. They're a lot warmer, a lot more, I feel, friendly, down to earth. So that's why I was asking this, and I wonder why that is. Is it because we're, again, like Charles said, we're so sprawling here in the Klang Valley, for example, that, when you get into the big cities, people tend to be more individualistic, don't you think?
I also think, because I think here in the city life and all, people are just forever chasing after, their own careers and things like that. Maybe there is a difference. I also feel politics, it gets politicized a lot. So Semenanjung
Different
and
agenda.
East Malaysia
Yeah.
is very different. Their brand of
Yes.
politics and ours.
Yes.
And I think a lot of those things play into effect. But at the very basic or at the very root of it, I think Malaysians on the whole, they are very warm and very hospitable people.
Yeah.
You know, we are not as divided as people might think, actually. So
Or what is being portrayed
what
sometimes
is being portrayed
in the general sort of
in
media
out there in the media and whatever.
Yeah.
So we are not that, because I've seen so many acts of kindness, everywhere. And I think that, at the end of the day, if somebody falls on the road or there's an accident, you can see that's when Malaysians, they are so good at this. They'll all come and try to help.
Yeah.
I've seen that many times. I mean, I've been in an accident and I've seen how strangers just come and wanting to help you and things like that. So I believe that Malaysians are, that's our DNA lah.
Have you ever experienced something like this abroad? You know, this act of kindness by strangers during your travels, which made you think, oh, this is so much like Malaysia.
Yeah, quite recently I went to Beijing with my colleagues from Singapore. It was a leisure trip, and because we have offices in Beijing as well, my company. So I dropped by and visited one of the colleagues during the weekend, and she very kindly invited me to her home to see what a real sort of Chinese household in Beijing looks like. And her mum was so kind that she cooked up lunch for us, local dishes. And that kind of reminded me of home, like home cooked food in Malaysia. Whenever I fly home to Sabah after being abroad, then your parents or your grandparents will cook up nice dishes for you. So that to me sort of reminded me of that warmth.
How often are you actually abroad, Charles? Like,
I don't want to answer that on camera, but I'm joking. Every now and then when I have time to be away, whether it's public holiday or when I take annual leave or extended breaks, then I like to head out to neighboring countries just to give myself a change of scenery.
right.
I enjoy being in KL to a certain extent, but at the same time, I think having the privilege of growing up abroad, you have friends scattered all around the world.
Which part of the world did you grow up?
I have lived in Glasgow, Scotland for a couple of years, for primary school, high school, and then I went to Vancouver for a
Right.
couple of years,
Right.
and then straight off to Bristol in the UK. Yeah.
Right.
And then only came back to Malaysia 8 years ago for work.
Right.
And actually at that point in time, I thought I'll come back to Malaysia, stay for a couple of years, and then head off to somewhere
That sounds
in
familiar.
Greater China, Hong
That
Kong,
sounds
etc.
familiar.
Yeah, I think that's a sort
Yeah.
of the anticipated or sort of your planned journey, right? But life happens, and I'm still here after 8 years.
Yeah.
Nice.
That resonates, because I remember, because I went to the UK at the age of 7. I returned at the age of 23 after graduating, because I was looking for a job.
Right.
And instead of waiting for the BBC, I was offered a job at TV3.
Yeah.
So I thought my big plan was come back, work for a year, and then travel Southeast Asia for a year, and then
Yeah.
go back and say hi to BBC again.
Yeah.
But as you said, life happened, and I realized that now when someone asks me, where is your kampong? I sometimes do stumble a little bit, because like if you've spent your formative years somewhere
Yeah.
else and you've seen, growing up, that's all
Yeah.
you know. And then somebody asks you, like, where's your kampong? You're kind of like, is it London? Is it KL? My mother's from Penang, my dad's from Sepang. And then I have to ask myself the question, but where do you feel most like home?
Belong, right?
Where
you feel
you
belong.
really
Yeah.
belong, right? And then I realized that Malaysia, its warts and all, whatever, I also, like other people, vent and say nasty things about Malaysia. But at the end of the day, where is home? Where is the heart? It's still here in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Because I came back, I think, like a tourist, because I had the privilege of being somewhere else and coming back and seeing Malaysia in a completely sort of fresh eyes, if you know what I mean. Because sometimes I think if you live in the country, you take the country for granted, right? Whereas when I came back, I could see the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
And I appreciated or fell in love with Malaysia more the more I got to know her.
Oh, it's very nice.
Yeah.
But what was the thing that got you, to fall in love with the country? Because I think it's quite interesting that you spent your formative years in the UK. So you would have had a different viewpoint when you first came to Malaysia.
Oh, it was a
Right.
struggle when I first returned because of the mindset.
What would, at that point, that young you coming to Malaysia, what gift you would you have given Malaysia from a UK, I am born and bred perspective?
I think to be a bit more open-minded. I think because when I landed the role in TV3, no disrespect, it felt, okay, I would say it was almost 99% Malays. I was surrounded, I felt like I was in a Malay kampong. I mean, I'm a Malay, but then I felt like I stuck out like a sore thumb because obviously the language, I struggled with the language a little bit. I understood, but I couldn't converse properly with it, or I couldn't write. And I felt that people were a little bit more stereotypical. So they had this mindset. And most of them never stepped out of the country. So I think, this thing about, you have to go out into the big wide world to broaden your horizon because then you will appreciate things better and also you'll have a different perspective. So I think at that point, I was disillusioned with the fact that I felt Malaysians were too close-minded.
Right.
Yeah. But on the flip side, the charm of it was that I felt that as a people, Malaysians were very warm, very hospitable, like you said. So, it balanced out a little bit. But even now, I would think that there are still people out there who refuse to, embrace different kind of perspectives. They're stuck, in the same kind of thought process to the stereotypes. So that is disheartening when you think about how far we've come. We're celebrating 68 years? Of Merdeka.
Yeah.
And I also, even though I was brought up in the West, I also wish that Malaysians would be prouder of what and who we are instead of still having that colonial mindset where, our colonial masters or the Western side is so much better than we are.
In
What
fact,
do you
it's
think,
not.
Charles?
You have to go out to really experience it and realize that, we have things much better over here.
Yeah, because
Right.
when you go to London, for example, like when I've been in KL, I see more homeless people on the streets in London and sleeping in cardboard boxes. I've been in Europe as well, and I've seen more of that. And I'm horrified. I'm thinking, look, they're saying Malaysia's a third world country, but police, I've not seen this kind of thing, I mean, maybe I should go further, but you don't see it so glaringly, And I think, again, when you step out of the country and you see the world a bit more, that's when you have perspective. And I think then you develop a deeper love or deeper appreciation for what you have rather than what you don't have. Right? Al, you look very pensive.
No, I think I'm just thinking, right, when I go overseas, what do I miss most about Malaysia?
Yeah.
I have to be a bit shallow. I say food lah. Really, there's nothing like Malaysian food. Absolutely anywhere in the world. I think we should be damn proud of that. That, our Nasi Lemak, roti canai,
Yeah.
everything. We do, and the taste is so different.
Right.
It's like when you go everywhere and you eat Malaysian food in other countries, right? Malaysian air quote restaurants, right? And they are not the same. It's just not the same. So when you come back, right, even on the plane, you're like, got partners, Nasi Lemak, got anything here that
Smell
resembles.
the sambal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I'm just so thankful that we have that. And, there's nowhere in the world. And our food is always like 24/7. We'll never go hungry.
Yeah, that's the best thing actually. What do you miss most, Charles, when you go on your globetrotting?
Yeah, actually, I think food is one thing, but also I think that the convenience of being to get food late at night in the evening in the mamas, right?
Yeah.
Surely you can get it in places like Hong Kong, in Taipei, Taiwan. They've got night markets,
Right.
but again, it's a bit different. You can't just go into almost like a communal cafe and sit down and just order a cup of teh tarik, goreng manis,
Right.
and and start chilling with your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But on that note, right, I just want to know, with the passing years, if there was something from the old Malaysia that you knew or that you had when you were growing up that no longer exists today, what would it be? What would you want to bring back?
I don't think it doesn't exist. I think it's just few and far between.
Okay.
And I think it would still come back. And the whole concept of open houses,
All right.
especially during festive seasons. Because I remember back in my days, I
Wow,
sound like
that
100 years old.
Dinosaur.
Back in my days. So I need a rocking chair for that kind of stories, But back then,
Yes.
When it came to Chinese New Year or Hari Raya or Deepavali or Christmas, it was a very communal type of celebration where we would look forward, because for me it was Chinese New Year. Wow, I'm celebrating too.
Did you have yourself a cheongsam as well? Because I did.
Yes, we had all that. I had
Oh,
baju
we need to see those
kurung.
pictures.
I had
Yeah, we should show
cheongsam. I had, all those kind of,
You made an
outfits.
effort, right?
We made an effort. We went to
Yes.
each other's houses.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I love Chinese New Year because I'll become a bit rich that time, and
Yes,
we'll
ang
compare
pao.
ang pao.
Hey, Hari Raya also.
Yeah.
You
No,
have
but
duit
back
raya.
then,
Raya.
back then.
Was it 20 cent back
no
then?
lah, back then got no duit, right? Got only ketupat, rendang, lemang, and all that.
seriously?
Things. Yeah. Back in my days, we
God knows
didn't
when
have
that
all that. We only had ang pao for Chinese New Year lah, because that was the thing.
Right.
But I loved it. We went Deepavali-ing, if there's such a word, Hari Raya-ing, Chinese New Year-ing,
Chinese New Year.
So we'll go to each other's houses, and I'll have my friends come over during Christmas.
Yes.
So it was very communal. And, we didn't need to have some formal invitation. We'll just go.
Actually.
We'll just go and we were welcomed. But these days, it's so different. Everybody balik kampong, everybody goes and does their own thing with their own cliques. And you find yourself wondering, damn, those days, I think, I may have had like 5 friends, but all 5 friends I would go to their houses. But these days, I've got like so many friends. But Hari Raya,
Yeah.
Deepavali, Christmas, Chinese New Year, So I'm just wondering, where has that gone to? When has that become out of?
When it stopped.
Yeah, it's like, when did that stop and why? Everybody is so afraid of eating in each other's houses now. Those kind of things.
I think it's, a couple of reasons. One could be after COVID and pandemic, right? People sort of distant themselves a bit more.
No, it's
no.
well
It's
before that.
Well before that.
before
Oh,
that.
okay.
This thing has slipped away for good 10
years, I
10,
would say.
15
Good
years,
10
I
years.
think. It's just been going down, and I see that also very obvious in my nieces, India, how they deal with their friends and everything. It's not like, they don't have that urge or the, wanting to go to their friend's house for Chinese New Year, or Hari Raya,
Right.
Deepavali. It's not the in thing now. And I'm wondering, where did that go? Because that was so uniquely Malaysian.
Where and why did it go?
And why has all this political rhetorics just divided us so much that we can't even celebrate together? And that's one thing I just wish we would have. The ability to celebrate together as a family, because at the end of the day, we're all living in this place together. We are, it's like having a big house. We're all living together.
Yeah.
Got to put up with each other, right?
That's right.
So where has
Okay.
that gone to?
What about you, Charles? What do you miss most from a period in time of Malaysia that you loved most? That you probably either it has disappeared or there's not so much of it now.
I think then just sort of tying back to that your points, Elena. I think, for example, visiting houses, sometimes people start moving out of the city or moving into the cities and away from the kampongs and whatnot. So it sometimes it's harder to go back, right? It's less convenient to go back unless you intentionally make plans to travel, right? Then now there's so many offerings to travel outside and to travel family abroad for CNY. For example, our family, we just did the first CNY abroad in Japan. And that was quite a nice, refreshing change. Of course, then when parents come back, you have to do, house visits and whatnot. So I think it's the change in lifestyle for some families that consider that. Yeah.
I have a theory.
Okay, so
I'm
what's your
probably
theory?
going to be
Let's dig
shot
further.
by some religious body or something. Okay.
Yeah, have your theory.
You've got a lawyer here, so
I
don't
will
worry.
agree.
We have a lawyer. I'm going to be safe.
Okay.
No, I just feel because I'm just remembering there's a time when I found an old album belonging to the family, my dad's family, and I saw the kind of clothes that my grandmother used to wear. These really beautifully fitted kebaya,
Right.
so vavavum sexy, right? And then even my mother vavavum sexy, and then I used to ask my dad, why is it not okay to be dressed like that these days? Why is it not okay to be going to that kopitiam just because it has Chinese words at the front? Why is it not okay? Because we were walking in and out of kopitiams, back
Right.
then, and, having coffee, having toast. I don't remember there being like, got halal
Judgments.
certification or not? Got some Chinese Indian. Oh, maybe not halal. And then, you cannot wear that form-fitting kebaya because it just shows everything. So my theory, and like you were wondering, at what point did things change and people just got either fearful or insecure? When everybody decided to, what's the word? Arabianize themselves.
I know, right? I wanted to say
Am
that,
I
but
gonna-
then I was thinking I'll be
coming from the Malay, I'll probably be shot. But no, I'm just saying, because
Yeah.
we want to reflect. Because I'm not saying it's a bad thing. We're trying to pinpoint at what point did all this nonsense start? All this fear mongering and all that.
But here's the thing.
Ah.
I think sometimes we want to be, it's like a teenager, because we are relatively, like what you said, right? We are relatively quite a young nation. So just like any teenager, we like to be somebody else. We emulate that person because we think that person is all that and then
Cool
some.
and whatnot.
Right? So suddenly all this, anything to do with, okay, I'm going to say it this way. Arabian Nights suddenly became...
Arabian Nights.
Okay, that sounded so wrong, but suddenly that became the thing.
The compass.
The moral compass
Yeah,
suddenly
the moral
shifted to something
compass.
else altogether. I mean, okay, fine. You want to emulate the good part of it, or the religious part of it. I've got no issues with that, but not at the expense of alienating your fellow neighbors and
Our
other
culture,
people, our
our
culture.
people.
Impacting others, yeah.
When I see, those olden days, you see all those advertisements and you see all those stories from back in the days.
Yeah.
And then you think, we were actually not bad ourselves. I
Yes,
just wish we
actually.
would accept ourselves.
Yes.
We don't need to emulate anybody else because we had a good thing going for us,
That's right.
and
We'll both be in trouble, but never mind.
since when are we are we looking like, since when are we not good enough?
Yeah.
Actually, I
yeah,
wonder.
that's actually my last question, but okay, I'll get to that. Okay, I'm going to just, because the minutes are ticking, and you know what?
We're having fun.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that it's almost the end.
Time flies when we're having fun.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
okay, so for the final question, let's fast forward to 2057.
Oh God, will I be alive?
I don't know. Will you?
Damn.
Okay, never mind. Malaysia will turn 100.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Right? That's
That's
something.
shocking.
I will probably
But
turn around
You'll
there
be dead.
too.
Okay, so hopefully we'll still be in the studio,
Yes,
to
yes.
talk about this.
Sure.
What gift would you want her to open then? Shall we give it to Charles? Okay, maybe as a traveler, if someone were to visit Malaysia, okay, let's say 30 years from now,
Like time traveling.
Time
like
traveling.
Okay,
okay,
Okay.
what gift should we have given ourselves to make the experience unforgettable?
I think we hopefully we will have been more. Oh
Are you dying?
no,
Okay.
you're right. You're right.
It's like a light bulb moment.
Oh, she's had an epiphany. Never mind. Let
Oh,
Charles speak
okay,
because he's our
okay.
guest.
Right. I hope by then we'll be more open-minded. Right. We'll be
Right.
more inclusive, like more meaningfully
Okay.
inclusive. The way we show ourselves, right? Because we've got so much rich history, heritage, and diverse culture, community that we should be proud of. I think
Right.
hopefully by then there's a stronger sense of Malaysian heritage, Malaysian purpose. That sort of, I wouldn't say brand identity, but it is something that people. We don't want people to just think, oh, Nasi Lemak,
Yeah,
satay,
we're more than that.
orangutan, or just the beaches of Borneo. We want them to think more
Yes.
of what Malaysia can offer. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's a good one. Elle, since you were hyperventilating, it's your turn now.
I think he hit the nail on the head.
Which
because, he
hit
used
many nails.
nails.
Many
but
nails.
maybe one like
Stuck up to you. Yeah.
I think heritage.
Heritage.
I think the problem with us sometimes is we don't value where we came from. Macam the saying, kacang lupakan kulit.
Yes.
So we don't value where we came from and how we came together as a nation. It was just not just one race coming,
Yeah.
sliding its way all the way. It was all of us were nation builders. Our family, our generations before us built this nation, right? Together, we all built the nation together.
Right.
You know, and it's not just the blood, sweat, and tears of just one particular race or two particular race, everybody. You know, so I think we need to go back and we need to value. The problem is sometimes we don't value our heritage.
Yeah, we
We
don't.
don't think history is important. And sometimes we try to filter our history. We try to look at it through rose-tinted glasses. You know, we anything that's unpleasant, we bury under the sand.
Yeah.
We don't want to revisit it. We don't want to understand why it happened.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. So I think looking at our history and valuing our history will make us actually appreciate how we came together as a
Warts
nation.
and all.
Warts and all. You know, I like this idea of Malaysia. Why not? It's like my home, where when I go overseas, okay, I wear Spanx and all that, right? Like
Spanx?
Spanx lah, Spanx. What do you call it? Those girdles and all that. Okay,
You do?
I'm just saying. I'm
Oh,
giving you.
oh,
I'm giving you an example of
Oh.
how it is.
Okay,
and
fine.
then after that, when you come back, you just remove it like that. You know.
Ah.
You become like, I'm
Relief.
myself
Right.
now.
Right.
You know, I can wear
Oh.
the most
You shouldn't have to feel
grottiest
that way.
t-shirt.
Yeah, why would you do that?
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's not. Oh, when you go overseas, you enjoy everything, but it's not home.
Right.
When you come back home, you are home where you can just chill and it's home.
Right.
You know, it's like when you go back to your home, right?
Which home?
Oh, so much for giving
After all
examples. Oh my God! It's like when you go home, you're like
in your
yes,
comfort zone.
your
in your
comfort
sort of-
zone and all that. So
zone.
this is my comfort zone.
Wait,
Malaysia's-
now my question is, why are you not comfortable traveling?
Yeah.
No, I am comfortable travel. Oh my God.
That's topic for another
Wow,
day.
that's another topic for another day. What I'm saying is, we come back and this is home. This is where we, we can just be who we are. Not to say that we are not who we are when we go overseas, but this is home. We can walk barefoot. We can go
can
in
walk
Nasi Lemak at
barefoot
any time.
overseas.
Oh my God!
Okay,
you can-
never
I'm
mind.
going to be
Okay,
your
okay.
next, sort of help you plan your next trip.
Yeah, Charles is the expert on feeling
Oh
at
yeah,
home
yeah, Charles.
overseas
I
as well.
think that's good. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so much
Okay,
for giving
fine.
examples. So
Yeah.
I guess that didn't work. Okay,
It-
I'll
it
just go
was-
back.
It was the girdle that threw me.
It was Spanx, but never mind.
Spanx, okay,
I
fine.
tried to, never mind.
Okay,
So
never
much
mind.
from all my efforts.
Okay.
But yes, heritage. We
Okay.
need to
Strengthen it,
appreciate our heritage and really give some value to it. I feel we are not. I'm talking about both our history and also our natural heritage.
Yeah, very true.
Everything.
Very
Save
true.
our forests. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I was just going to say that I hope that, somewhere down the line we'll become more environmentally conscious and do a little bit
Yes.
for the world, because I certainly don't want Malaysia to turn 100 and we're all extinct. You know what I mean?
No, we have to go to a museum to see a tree.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's true.
That'd be
But
horrible.
museum, that's another topic for another episode
Oh
about
yes,
museums.
that's another topic for another day.
Yes. Okay, like for me, I would like to come back, or rather see Malaysia at that point with the gift of confidence. Because we
Yes.
don't realize that we're like that. Malaysia is like that friend who's actually the coolest in the room. We don't realize. Because do you know how much talent Malaysia has? Sometimes when I go on, my many assignments, say it's an art one, or I don't know, I interview someone who has done something, you just don't appreciate. Malaysians are a talented bunch. And, we have so much to celebrate, like you said, food, our people, our talent, our diversity. Our TikTok videos are kind of funny too, right? So why do we not have that swagger? Why do we still think that others are better than us?
Why do we need to Why do we need to pretend to be somebody else?
That's true.
We need to be more visible, right? For the right thing.
We need to know who we are. By the time Malaysia turns 100, I would like for all of us to know who we are and what we are about and why we need to be proud of being Malaysians and why Malaysia is such a superstar.
Yes, superstar.
Yes. So on that note, on the superstar note, we really have come to the end of the show. Thank you, Charles, for joining us and for an enlightening conversation. Elena is still looking pensive. What
I'm
is
just
wrong
thinking.
now?
I'm still not.
Gotta come back to
still
that.
not. Yeah, I'm still not satisfied. Y'all didn't get me.
Okay.
We'll get you next time. But anyways, before I go, I'd like to remind all you listeners out there to forget to get your copy of Sunday Vibes, because it's the best publication inside the New Sunday Times.
Yes, it's the
nice.
best.
Yes, it's the best. Failing which, you can always go online.
Yes.
Yes.
On our wait, online.
No, that's not your part.
Website.
Okay.
That's your part.
Yeah, that's
still.
my part. Still online, NST online. And we've also got an Instagram page which Elena runs.
Sunday Vibes _NST.
Yes.
Yeah.
And please show us your support there and suggest some ideas in case you want us to debate or discuss anything in the future. We're up for that. But in the meantime, it's goodbye from us. And shall we wish Malaysia
Happy Merdeka. We should have had some flags.
Yeah, we don't have flags. And Happy Malaysia Day, I guess.
Happy Malaysia
Happy
Day.
Malaysia Day. Thank you so much, everyone, for
Thank you,
joining us. And until the next time, bye.
Bye.
See ya.